Yeah, one in the first half. It was a poor second half.
Yeah, dull.
Ecuador managed it really well. There was no way that Qatar were getting back into the game. They kept the ball when they had to without being too much of a threat themselves. And yeah, it was very flat, wasn't it, the second half? Even the crowd disappeared just after half time, didn't they?
They did a lot of them, a lot of empty seats. They avoided embarrassment, I suppose, is the thing to say in the second half, Qatar.
I think that was down to Ecuador actually not coming out and just really not exerting themselves. Maybe thinking about I think the disappointing thing with Qatar is even when they did manage to get any kind of possession, they were so sloppy with it and gave it away and wasn't sure what to do. And you think it's potentially a long week and a long group stage for them.
It could be, and a short tournament.
Yeah,
possibly. There's just a real gulf between the quality of the players on either side, really, and ultimately that's what it comes down to, football, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that Qatar, they couldn't get themselves into it. They couldn't really build anything. They couldn't get out of their own half at times. Ecuador was set really well for the press and to win it back. It kind of turned, especially second half, it turned into a bit of a training exercise for Ecuador. I think that it was wise the way they played it. They probably conserved some energy for the difficult games that they've got left in the group stage. Yeah. But it was, as Alan said, it was a flat second half, but Ecuador professional and got the job done.
Yeah, let's run ourselves through the key moments in the game. And the first one, of course, came very early in the match, and it was, we thought Ecuador had taken an early lead, and then we were kind of a little bit baffled by the madness that is VAR and the way it's used.
Sort of the rest of the world, I think, didn't it? We were all trying to figure out what was going on because there was no information given at all.
They've got to sort that
to
out,
anyone.
Yeah,
because it's an entertainment business and it has to be the part of
it comes from that header there and it goes
inside the stadium and watching it home. And the people are the most important ones. The one in the stadium.
Yeah.
Actually, the fans.
Completely in the dark.
There was nothing at all, and as I said, there was no information given. Okay, by the letter of the law,
possibly.
It was
baffling. I think was the thing. Valencia, though, didn't have to wait too much longer for his first goal of the tournament, and it came from a penalty, and it was clear.
Yeah, but originally from a transition, and Qatar, like we've just spoke about, giving away possession, very sloppy. And this shows how Ecuador is so quick and direct between three passes and picking out the right pass here and a great run and you're through on goal. And that was a common theme throughout the rest of the whole 90 minutes, hitting them through the middle. But like you said, blatant penalty, yes, no deliberations about that, and so calmly taken.
Very calmly taken, wasn't it? Especially considering what had happened to him before. Did you see that line training?
Yeah,
those kind of runs and in games.
He weren't on penalties for us, but
he should have been.
Yeah, maybe. But what he did do that that I've seen today that he did do in training, he'd always be in between defenders. So always be in between a full-back and a centre-back. Always be in between the two centre-backs. He did it the whole 90 minutes today, and it's very clever forward play. And it's difficult as a centre-back when you always got to check to see where the striker is. He was never marked today. He was always picking up those pockets. Estrada would just play in behind the Qatar midfield, and then as we've seen on the penalty goal, with a good pass and release, Valencia was stretching them.
There was a perfect example of that in the second goal, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, and it's exactly. I mean, the cross into the box was just fantastic. Casoda does really well in winning the ball and then driving his team forward, doing really good work. But the cross is the impressive thing. Ricardo, no other thought than whip it in, get in. Someone's saying, get on the end of it.
Exactly what you want as a striker.
Oh, it's a dreamland ball. It is. Get on the end of it. Thanks very much.
Beautiful header.
Magnificent header.
They're the crosses that you work on as a full-back or a winger as well. Sometimes you don't even have to look. You know what area with pace you're going to put it in, and hoping, like you guys said, the striker's going to be there to get on the end of it.
So many wingers that don't do that, Alex. I can tell you, they have a touch and they cut back. It drives you mad, doesn't it, Al?
Yeah. Why do you think I've got no hair, Gary?
Yeah. But there is Valencia post-match. I mean, he doesn't look overly concerned, but he did hobble off. I mean, that's got to be somewhat disconcerting, don't you think, for Ecuador?
It would be a concern, but I think they was in such a comfortable position that any kind of risk they would have took him off today anyway. And they do have a few days now to manage whatever the problem might be. But I think on the basis of today, they're a very good team, very strong team. But playing against Senegal and Netherlands, they're going to need him at full fitness to do what he did today.
That'll be a different proposition, Alex.
Oh, they absolutely will. Their movement off the ball, how quickly they move it. It's about being organised, but they're going to be good games to watch.
Yeah, certainly are. What gave them apart from obviously better footballers, what gave them the edge?
When you're playing against poor opposition, and that's what Qatar were this evening, you've got to move the ball quickly, including when you win the ball back off them or when it's a poor pass of them. Your first thought has to be, can I play that ball quickly? And that's what Ecuador
break
did.
the lines.
Pass it forward, there you go. And all of a sudden, you're in behind, because the turnover of possession is really key, and moving it really quickly. And players of this opposition, they can't deal with that if you do it as quick as what Ecuador did tonight. And that caused a lot of the problems for Qatar when they did that. You've got to have willing runners in behind. You've got to have someone.
To kind of half chances, actually.
Yeah, it's not enough really, is it? If you're opening the World Cup and you want to give a good account of yourself, this was the best one. Yeah. Obviously, I think
that could have made all the difference. Stoppage time in the first half.
Yeah, just before half time, perfect time to score. And it's just a little bit of technique, I think. There, a little bit of panic in front of goal, but they did try this diagonal ball a lot, which didn't come off. But I think 3 touches, that's actually not a bad effort, to be honest. From that distance,
very difficult.
He's just outside the post. But even in the build-up at times, it was just so sloppy. They would manage to get into the middle third, and nothing would come of it. That's actually a good ball and a half decent chance, but it wasn't. They didn't do nearly enough to win a game of football at this level. And they've got work to do, because, as we've said, they're coming up against more, tougher opposition.
Not one effort on target and 3 touches in the box. No. Nowhere near good enough.
We've got a contender already. I mean, we love a bit of a roll-up, don't we? Not that kind of roll-up. An injury one in a World Cup. Sorry about that, just for a minute. But let's. This is early contender. We've counted 4.5 rolls for this one from Afif. Maybe 5. I think 4. There he goes, another one. Just half a roll. This was Neymar, of course.
1, 2, 3.
That probably.
Oy.
I think he might have just picked Neymar. So
6-5, isn't it?
Early contender for the Rolden boot. Sorry, that's awful. Alan, you mentioned the empty seats. They're obviously very empty now. Everyone's gone home, but it seemed full at the start of the game, full, and then at half-time we thought, you said straight away, you said a lot of empty seats, and we thought it was perhaps one of those things where they come back from the corporate things, but...
Yeah, this is an hour into the game, Gary, and there were so many and so many leaving. In fact,
disappointment with their team, I imagine. It must have been.
At half-time as well, they just never came back into the stadium, certainly not in the numbers that were there. Ahead of the game, so rather surprising.
It just really didn't help how flat the second half was, and nothing really entertaining or exciting to even keep them.
Well, we're doing our best with it, but I'll give you a little stat here. There was a combined total of 11 shots today, which is the joint lowest in a World Cup game since 1966, which is as far back as that type of information has been recorded. So. We did our best to find we had 2 goals though. There's been a lot of 0-0s, so it wasn't all bad.
It was a good start to the game, though, wasn't it? It was only to talk about.
Cracking start. I thought we were going to get.
You know what? Ecuador will take that all day. They're happy with that.
Well, I think once they got to up at half time, they just
and then they just took their foot off the gas a little bit. But it wasn't the spectacle second half.
Senegal and Netherlands are playing tomorrow. They'll be watching that. The other 2 teams in Group A. They won't be terrified.
No, I don't think they'll be too worried. Although Mane is missing, isn't he, for Senegal? So they might be a different proposition. But they won't worry too much about both of those teams tonight.
And of course, the top 2 from this group will play. Could play, I should say. Should they qualify, England or Wales, or hopefully both.
And that's the thing, you're also looking for the route, and also, like Al just said, it's never getting complacent. It's about getting the job done and not focusing on other people but yourselves and what you can bring.
Yeah, but there's always a danger, though, isn't there, when you start to look ahead at who you might play in the knockout. But we all do it
because you really have to focus on that next team, and that is all you can do, or that next training session, or that next game. Because if you don't, you'll get stung because you're looking too far ahead.
Yeah. We'll be back tomorrow with England. Midday we come on air, kick off 1 o'clock UK time, Alan. I mean, we've played in World Cups. That night before the opening game, there's always the
night before is great. I mean, normally you'd say you just can't wait to get started because it's been such a long build-up. Not on this occasion. You've had a week. They probably only got here on Tuesday. Their first training session would have been on Wednesday, so there's no real time to be nervy or anything like that. So
did you do anything special on the night before a game?
Just my normal pre-match. It was.
What was your pre-match?
Go on, come on, that's what
Chicken and beans.
Chicken and beans.
Yeah.
What?
Just should have tried it.
No
You'd have scored more goals.
How was you getting World Cup?
Hey!
If I'd have had chicken and beans,
Won a golden boot. You might have won 2 if you had that.
No, I wouldn't have done. Actually, and then the Euros. I mean, it was the first one as well.
Yeah, so
the only one.
I think for the boys, they try and keep it as normal as possible. Try and keep it your routine exactly the same, but you will have those little bit of butterflies because for the Wales team, they're on the world.
I've got to tell you, I did a long interview with Cesc Fabregas, and he gave me the secret for their success when they won the World Cup in 2010 in South Africa. He said the night before every match that they played, they went into Rainier's room, who had a big room, at midnight. He said they had, shouldn't advertise, but he said they had Nesquik, chocolate Nesquik, and croissants. And they were in there till 1, 2 in the morning. Then went home. And then they won the World Cup.
Wow!
Everyone will be trying. Everyone will be trying.
I think my last one, 2015. I was sat in the hotel reception sending my dissertation off for my media degree because I knew it was going to be my last World Cup. I was thinking ahead.
You can tell it's been a rubbish second half by the time we're trying to run down the clock, eh?
And you can also tell how many footballers do degrees. Alex Scott, you might be the only footballer I know that does.
You've got to fill the time sometime. What, you said you're already watching how many box sets here? Oh, God.
Actually, looking forward to watching Wales.
Can't wait, It's a massive moment for us. The whole country are just buzzing, to get to see... to see the Welsh flags here in Qatar is massive.
Fantastic. Wish you well. And England, of course. Alex, Alan, Ashley, thank you very much indeed. That's it from us. What a start for the South Americans. Today, we're feeling Ecuador. Goodbye.